for the dog park, and a portion of the sales will be donated. There will be a prize wheel from 4 to 6 as well. And that's Mayor's report for April 10th, 2024.
Questions or comments about the mayor's report? None. For the standing committees.
Finance and Legislation Committee to be held April 17th at 6 p.m.
Any other committees? Okay, we're going on legislation. We got two pieces. Anyone wishing to address council? This is on pending legislation only at this time. You're welcome to come up, state your name and address for record. This is legislation only. If none, we're going to go into legislation. Number one.
Number one, it's a second reading, an ordinance contracting for health services as provided in section 3709.08 of the Ohio Revised Code, where the city of Struthers will contract for health services from the Mahoney County General Health.
Okay, council, you heard the reading of the ordinance. I need a motion to send this to third reading. Ron makes a motion. Dallas seconds that.
Yes. Mr. Ballack?
Yes.
Mr. Bayes?
Yes.
Mr. Beagley?
Yes.
Mr. Burnside?
Yes.
Mr. Carselli?
Yes.
Ms. Goman?
yes,
Number two.
Yes. Number two, an ordinance authorizing the auditor and treasurer to transfer into the general fund the sum of $859.20 from uncashed payroll checks older than 5 years as advised by the Ohio Auditor of State Management Advisory Bulletin Number 91-11 and declaring an emergency.
Okay, council, you heard the reading of the ordinance. I need a motion to suspend the rules of council and place the ordinance up for passage. Ricky makes a motion.
Make a
Lori
motion.
seconds that.
Yes. Mr. Ballack?
Yes.
Mr. Bayes?
Yes.
Mr. Beagley?
Yes.
Mr. Burnside?
Yes.
Mr. Carselli?
Yes.
Mrs. Goman?
yes,
Questions, comments under suspension? None. Need a motion to pass as read.
Motion passage read.
second,
Yes. Mr. Ballack?
Yes.
Mr. Bayes?
Yes.
Mr. Beagley?
Yes.
Mr. Burnside?
Yes.
Mr. Carselli?
Yes.
Mrs. Goman?
yes,
Okay. Unfinished business. New business. Report of our law director. John, you have anything for council?
I do not.
Questions, comments for our law director? Our auditor is absent. Our safety director, Bob, do you have anything for council?
I have nothing for council this evening.
Questions or comments for our safety director? If none, at this time, anyone wishing to address council, you're welcome to come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Tina Garman. I live at 422 6th Street. I actually printed some pictures for you guys to see.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving me a few minutes to voice my complaints. As some of you may know, I live at 422 6th Street behind New Lease on Life. I've lived in my home almost 30 years. I'm a single mom who had raised 3 children in this town. I've volunteered in this community for years, and I'm a proud member of the Teddy Foltz Committee. I'd like to consider myself a good member of this community. I work hard, and I expect to be able to come home and enjoy my home and my neighborhood. Ever since New Lease has been open, I'm miserable. This place has become such a nuisance. I cannot believe the city has allowed it to go on so long. I cannot enjoy one day at my home without some nonsense from that place. I am absolutely fed up with the daily disruptions caused by that puppy mill. They are not a rescue. They truck in animals from out of state. They catch feral cats, fix them, and then release them into our neighborhood. She has told me that personally. I have cats on my porch every night, but I do not even own a cat. The same cats that I've seen in her building sitting at her door looking out the window. The stench from the dumpster will make you want to vomit. On a breezy day, it goes right into my house. I can't even sit on my porch. I have photos of dogs tied up in the back with no shelter, shade, or water. I have a video of someone in a hazmat suit and a mask spraying the dog waste in the back parking lot. I could go on and on. Having to hear the dogs cry at night does the worst. I've had to replace my mulch with river rock to try to deter the cats from there, costing me more money. I've just recently bought the property next door, and I'm putting in all kinds of money that I don't even have to fix up my property. Then I have to put up with car after car parking in front of my property, getting out of there with their dogs and letting their dogs do business in my front yard. Do you know what happens to grass when there's constant urine on it? It dies. Do you know how embarrassing it is when guests come to your home and they park on the street, get out of their car, and they step in dog waste? It has happened at my house so many times I can't even count. Then 4 hours of car door slamming, stirring up my dogs 6 to 7 days a week, from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock every day. I actually resorted a year and a half ago to pulling trash cans out from the time I get home from work to 8 o'clock at night, just to deter the cars from parking in front of my house. That alone is inconvenient and looks really bad. I hate it. I have to but at this point, I feel like I have no choice. I have to keep a traffic cone at the end of my driveway to stop for customers from using my driveway as a turnaround. One day, I counted 23 cars turn around in my driveway, and all of them went to her business. I have requested several times to put no parking signs in front of my property, and I keep getting excuses on why they can't. Explain to me why. I was told by my councilman that the safety director said as long as he's in that position, he will never agree to a parking sign there. I know this is hearsay, and at the end, you guys all know if it's true or not. All I'm asking is why. I invite you, next week it's supposed to be 70 degrees. Please come to my house and sit in my yard and see what I see every day. I'm begging you, come sit in my yard at my picnic table. This is not a lie. This has been going on since day one. And how would you guys like to live next to something like that and deal with it on a daily basis? I work at a steel mill. I sometimes 8 to 12 hours a day. I come home, I should be able to sit on my porch, pour a glass of wine, and enjoy my neighborhood. I can't do that. I've lived there 30 years. I think I deserve a little bit better from my city to come and try to help me resolve this. I'm tired of complaining and being told, call the police, call the police. Ask the dispatchers what happens when the same person calls the police every day about the same thing. They begin to ignore you. And I'm not the Karen of the street. I just want to be able to enjoy my house. So I really do. I'm inviting you to come to my house next week. Pick a day, show up, and you can see what I see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We did have a conversation. Go ahead.
Did you see this?
Yeah, I got a call.
Give that to John.
I think John had a call. We've had a conversation about this situation in our caucus room. We're going to ask the police chief to come down to our meeting next week, and then you're also welcome to come and sit in. We'll be able to ask you if you wish to talk. You need to get with our clerk and change, give your name so you can be recognized at the meeting. If you don't do that, then if you want to participate in any conversation. Okay, so before you leave, make sure.
Actually, I gave him my name.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
I have it.
okay, so next week, we're going to continue the conversation and ask the police chief to come down and see where he's at with that. I'm going to be talking with John, our law director, to see where we can go. Some ideas was to have the tenants come in on a prosecutor's notice and let them know what's going on and let them know we're getting serious about doing something up there. We're trying not to go off half-cocked, but, in your defense too, we need to do something up there. Okay. So that's where we're at now, and we're not turning hindsight on you, but we will continue to try to do something. But make sure you come next week. Okay, and then at that time, we can get an in-depth conversation with our police chief and go from there. Before we get into the prosecutor's notice, where we invite the tenants to come down and talk, hoping that maybe we can come up with some resolve next week. Okay. If that's not going to work, then we're going to bring him in. Okay. Does any other council member wish to talk about this? Comments?
Have you called anybody else? I'm just curious, about the dogs being tied up or about
I have,
anything?
I have actually called the health department, and they were more concerned that I had a bird feeder in my tree than with the dogs. So, I don't know what to tell you, but I can show you proof. I have videos, I have pictures, dates and times.
Well, even the smell, like you said, or anything like that,
On a
like,
warm day, come sit on my side porch with me.
yeah.
Like, it's, I don't know what to tell you. It's true.
But that place has been there for,
For 7 years.
yeah, it's been a while.
And I've been there 30, and it didn't start until that place opened.
So this has been for the whole time it's been
Oh,
there,
yeah.
would you say?
No, I've been complaining about this for years, and I'm done. I'm done.
I mean,
don't know who
that's
else
a
to
long
complain
time,
to.
right, yeah.
You know.
I also, in caucus, I brought up to council about passing an ordinance about installing no parking signs up there. And I'd like to see that done. From the Midlothian to the alley, because there is parking behind their building for
Well,
that.
she has parking in front, parking on the side of the building, and parking behind her building.
Right.
But yet, they'll park in the alley, they'll park in front of my house, they'll park in front of the fire hydrant.
Right.
They'll park wherever their car stops.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay, if not, just a reminder of the finance, 6 PM next
Oh.
Wednesday.
Mike, I think
Oh,
there are
Eric, you
more
wanna talk?
people that want
Oh,
to.
Eric?
Yeah, I apologize, misunderstood.
Yeah, I think I did too. I thought you were just talking about,
Well, I did, and no one said anything, so my next move is to adjourn.
not yet, Mike, not yet.
Hi, my name is Eric Rauschenbach. I reside at 266 Broad Street. Couple things tonight. One, I know that you guys are probably still dealing with technical difficulties. I just want to let you know from the live stream for the caucus at home, audio is breaking in and out. I'm sure this is probably something you guys are aware of. Just wanted to note it. Secondly, more importantly, I own 167 South Bridge Street, which is directly across from 162 South Bridge, more commonly known as Los Gallos, the McKinney Building. I wanted to inquire as to what the plan with that building was, if there's any updates on what's happening with that building.
And that would be administration. Bob, do you have anything on that?
Currently, we have a bid of $77,000 to demo the building.
Is there a timeline on when that demolition will begin?
It's dependent upon how much funds we can get from the county. It may not occur till next year.
Okay. If the full sum couldn't come from the county, where would the remaining funds be raised?
Well, the city has, we didn't budget anything this year for demos, but if we can't get the money from the county, we'll put it in the budget for next year out of our demo fund.
Okay. What will happen to that site after it's been demolished?
The current plan is parking.
Okay. Do you guys, where will the money for the parking come from?
Well, that will be put in with the bid, so instead of grading it and putting grass in there, we'll grade it and put down some kind of parking surface.
Have there been any conversations with the director of stormwater to address any kind of drainage concerns with having a parking lot next to the creek?
That's always a concern. Stormwater is a constant concern for all of us, for every building that is built and every parking surface that is pavement. We just had a conversation about stormwater management and how it'd be nice to see grass everywhere.
Sure.
And a permeable surface parking lot would probably be our first option as opposed to a paved parking lot, okay, to help address that.
Are there any site plans on what that parking lot would look like or what the...
Not at this current
what
time.
The parking capacity? Okay. Just to confirm here, that quote of $77,000 to demolish the building, that would also include the cost of building the parking lot?
That quote will probably have to be redone because I'm not sure we're going to have the money from the county
Sure.
to take care of that this year because we have other demos going on in the city. So it may have to be rebid next year when we get more funds through the county.
Okay, so just to confirm, the demolition will not happen this year?
I don't know. If the county comes up with the 77,000, it will happen this year.
Okay.
If they don't, then it will probably be rebid next year through the county, not through the city.
Okay.
And then they will proceed in that direction.
Okay. When we say this year, do we mean in like the next 3 months, 6 months,
Fiscal year.
fiscal year?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I apologize, I had another thought that escaped me. All right, I think that's probably about it. Is there any opportunity for me to meet with you or the mayor to discuss this further?
Anytime.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Bob, I have a question. So is that building need to be demolished, or?
The problem we have with the building is it's a large building. There's minor structural repairs that need to be done, but unfortunately, any business that goes in there has a lack of parking. So we can't attract anybody because there is a building that size, you don't have enough parking for any business to come in and make it viable. And our other parking areas downstairs, downtown, are lacking space also. So that, and with the development of downtown, we anticipate more parking needs, hopefully, that our downtown becomes more booming, and we anticipate a more of a parking need, so that's why we decided to go ahead and try to have it demoed and parking made available.
I think it should be noted that for many years, the seller, Southbridge Billiards
Yeah,
and Fatty successfully operated there with the amount of parking that they currently have.
I will say, I will contradict that because they're all out of business.
Yeah. I will also pull up by saying last year you guys launched into a comprehensive plan that stated that there wasn't a need for additional parking.
Well, that was true, because if you look at through an urban development point, there is a lot of parking downtown. Unfortunately, all the parking downtown is private parking, and we cannot force private owners to share their parking. So that's why we want to make a public parking that is accessible for everybody downtown.
Are there still plans to build a public parking lot behind my property at 167 South Bridge?
Currently, that's probably in a long reach, because that would be funded completely by the city, and the cost to do that is currently not in our budget, and I don't foresee that anytime new, unless somebody in the city hits the lottery for $1 billion and we get some big influx of cash.
So it is expected that that 10-spot lot would be more expensive to build than demolishing and building a new?
Yes,
Okay,
for the city,
for the city.
because the county will demo the building.
One important thing to note, there are 35 parking spots around Los Gallos. If you go over there right now, only 10 of them are available to use. So there's 25 spots that with a little bit of work, we can gain 25 parking spots downtown without demolishing one of our remaining
It is not,
townless buildings.
it was not our first choice. We've tried for several years to get somebody to come into this building, and because of the lack of parking, nobody found it a viable option to renovate that building.
Does that mean that if I found somebody to buy the building and redevelop it, that that's still allowed?
At this point, because we've been addressed by several people, including ECMSI, who is right next door, who actually offered to buy it and tear it down for parking. And we told them no, because we want to keep it public parking. And other businesses developing downtown, the option of keeping it is outweighed by the need for public parking.
I'm going to have a massive investment in downtown Struthers by the time I finish.
And we hope it booms. That's
And I
why
do too, but if we continue to whittle away at the buildings we have left, it's going to look like downtown Camden.
It was-
Have you been to downtown?
it was not our first option.
So we don't have to pursue this, though, is what I'm getting at. Have any of you turned down Walton? If you go down Walton and make a right-hand turn onto State Street, what is the first thing that you see?
So
That is, what do you see when you turn right onto State Street?
we will not disagree with
From
you.
almost a mile away, you see the Los Gallos building, and if we demolish that, we're gonna have a massive void. That whole corridor is already so barren, and then we're gonna leave a huge void.
Well, I will let you know, this is the first time I've heard about this.
Okay, thank you.
It is
So
is
I
fairly
will let
new
you know
development. The county,
Well, I just feel
Yeah.
that that's not fair to any of us here to be in that situation, because I get asked all the time, and I usually do, like, this week I thought about asking about the Los Gallos building. I
yes.
think that we should have, I mean, that's my ward.
Yes.
Yes, and believe me, I walked that ward when I went down and did all that with Samantha, and the plenty of parking and this and that, you know, I get that, we wanna make it walkable, if it's not a condemned building, I don't understand why we're knocking down a building that, and I agree, that building has character.
So,
Are you willing to put anything in there, Lori? A business name?
I mean, I don't have the funds to do that kind of stuff,
Another
but.
one.
May I address council, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. How long is that building supposed to sit there?
It's been over 10 years.
I know, but I'm just, how long is that building supposed to sit before we?
Well, the city
You
has
can't
only
get
had
nobody-
that building.
Like, and I'll agree with Bob, they've been trying to get people there.
The building went to sheriff's sale twice and did sell as well.
Right, so how long is that building supposed to sit there before the city says that's enough? Let's tear it down. How long?
But the city's only had that building for a short period of time.
For 3 years.
City owns the building.
3 years?
we've been trying for 3 years that I've been in office to get somebody to inhabit that
Well, I
building.
have talked to a couple people that were interested in the building that haven't been reciprocated. Now, I don't know the other side of the story, but, so I know people that wanted that building.
Well, tell them to come down and talk to the administration.
But,
My business partner made an offer on the building and he was never responded to. He made a formal offer and his correspondence stopped
What
there.
was the formal offer?
He contacted Mayor Cat and made an offer on the
I
building.
just meant a dollar.
Oh, I don't know the dollar amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing the offer, I'm
Is there
sorry.
a dollar amount that is being sought for that building?
The price of the building was always contingent on the number of jobs and everything else that would be created in that aspect. Okay?
Eric, I'll tell you this, so we don't have a bunch of, I think the proper way of addressing that building, now, do you need to come up with a business plan?
Sure.
What are you gonna put in it? How many jobs is it gonna prospectively bring down there? You know, you need to have a business plan. We can talk all we want over a cup of coffee, but you need a written proposal on what you plan, what your estimate is before, I think, any concrete thing needs, before the city can consider.
Sure.
You can talk all you want. You need a written
Sure.
plan, and you're gonna have to be aware of what the upgrades are gonna be, what it's gonna cost, and do you wanna do that?
Yeah, so lastly, I will say that a building, regardless of how many jobs it produces, is going to produce more tax revenue than a parking lot. You know, so once we demolish that building, there's no opportunity for jobs or tax revenue from that property in the future.
Here again, how long do you
I
have?
wouldn't completely agree with that. I understand what you're saying. However, the aid that it gives to the other businesses around there could be taken into consideration.
I understand. Yes, I understand.
So if you know somebody that's interested in it, before they get too depth into tearing it down, tell them bring their business plan forward to the administration.
So now the cost, you said 75 grand? to tear
That was a
down.
quote that the CIC got to tear it down this year.
So somebody could come in and actually buy that building for 75 grand?
No, that's just a quote on.
That's the quote
Why
for a
would they pay
demo.
more?
I mean,
Why would you pay more if the city can knock it down for 75? Right.
I don't understand.
Why would you pay more for a building that's only gonna cost 75 grand?
yes,
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yes.
I wouldn't,
Sure.
Well, I think it's a matter of the, in the
because
end,
obviously
the
they're
city-
gonna put more into it if the river you have.
Right, but I think ultimately in the end, it's a matter of having the parking.
Right.
Well, and it's a shame, we have that bank down there that has a huge parking lot.
That's
So they
private.
won't let anybody use that
It's their
parking lot.
property, Lori.
Well, you can.
And that's,
I
and
get
that's
that.
why our comprehensive plan stated that there was sufficient parking, but unfortunately, all the parking we have downtown is private parking.
So they're wrong
But that
in their
parking lot's
assessment
not
of what
used.
downtown is like. So that whole thing is a wash.
Here's the thing, we keep going back to this comprehensive plan like it's gospel.
I know, but it's a
We all
wash.
had issues with it.
Yeah.
Nobody here thinks that every single thing in there is
Right.
100% right. They want to widen the sidewalks and narrow the roads down there. Do we agree with that?
No.
I certainly don't. So let's not take everything that they said for 100%.
Right, well, what I'm saying is, and I get it, but is Premier Bank is not allowing us to use that. Now, there's no reason after 5 o'clock at night when the bank's closed why we couldn't use
Sure,
that.
there's
parking.
I think,
Sure, there's reasons.
I think, I don't think Premier Bank has a problem with you using their parking lot after 5
No,
o'clock.
a lot of people do.
Yeah,
I don't know, when I went down
think that they should
there,
be forced to
Right,
do that either.
right.
They own this property, this is their property. They pay taxes on that property. So
If-
the other businesses should get to use that property?
well,
so,
I'm just,
And then things can become an issue, obviously, if there's trash left in their parking lot and everything
100%.
else.
If-
That's why,
if you currently, if you go down,
Vandalism after hours,
Absolutely,
who's liable?
right.
So,
It's
the
that,
bank has
that's,
So-
to rate
so
those things. On
we-
the
we-
surface,
we-
you don't see
Sure.
those things.
They can
because
chain
you're
it
not
up.
in that field.
I think a fence.
So we paid a lot of money for that evaluation of the city, and it's wrong.
Well, I'm not
It's
saying
not
that,
wrong.
I'm saying that
They
I
should've-
don't
it-
agree with it.
Well, they should have, but they passed on false information.
I didn't agree with it when this was brought up 6 months ago, if you guys remember.
Yeah, you're
In
right.
caucus, when they thought that possibly they were leading down a path to, we should be able to use eminent domain to use these properties if we had them, which was insanity. It's their property.
I
They
agree.
dictate who goes on that property. Their customers use that property. It's a shame you can't, but you can't.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
Cindy, you wish to address council?
Yeah, just one thing, and I understand what you're saying. I owned a business in Struthers too, at one point. First of all, parking lots, that person pays taxes. They're liable. If you fall on that parking lot, you can sue that. That's dead line right there. I understand why they're not gonna do that. The building Los Galos, remember when all the bricks were falling down? Who's liable for that? The city is now because they own it.
Right.
But who was liable before? The people who used to own it. So if you want to leave it there, somebody needs to fix it, and somebody needs to pay the bills. You got utility bills, you got taxes. Yeah, it'd be nice to get a business in there, but what's going to attract them? You can't even drive through downtown Struthers without getting into a fussle with the trains, and, you know, people don't think about
It
it.
was a constant issue when the
Right.
pool hall was there. I
Right.
know because we had dealings with the pool. When Fatty's was there, it was just as bad. It was constant congestion. It was always a problem.
It's the same thing as when the mills went down. We lose money in this town. I understand about new lease on life, but the mills stunk too. Guess what? Where'd all of our money go? Right out the door with the mill. New lease on life, I know they're not a rescue, but think about the animals they are saving. Think about the ones that aren't being saved, that are being destroyed because they don't have anywhere else to go. Yes, there's a problem in this town with cats. People need to have licenses on cats, I say that all the time. But anyway, back to Los Galos. Somebody needs to fix the building if you're gonna keep it, and somebody needs to make the investment. And the city did what they had to do. I get it, but, you know, it's a liability. It's really a liability. I don't wanna walk by it. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna get hit in the head. And yeah, there might be 35 parking places, but again, who owns the property? Now the city does. If you go park your car down there and get hits, who's gonna get sued? The city. So think about it. I understand the overall thing. And the city tries to work with everybody. We owned a business for 40-some years. Never really had an issue, but we also followed the law and followed what they told us to do. Don't park on the sidewalk. We had people cutting through our lot all the time. Guess what? They couldn't do anything about it. So we put up chains. Stop the one of that.
Okay.
Think about it.
All right, well, we all heard, Eric, if you know somebody or anybody in this room, if somebody got a business plan about that building, you need to bring it forward. At some point in time, the city,
I would also say this though, too, the business plan would have to outweigh our
absolutely.
need for parking. I'm not against
Absolutely.
either. I'll be honest, I hear both sides completely. I would love to see something done down there, but it would still have to outweigh the benefits of us having that intersection free right there.
And you got eyes for it. So, anybody in this room, knows somebody that has a business plan for that building, bring it forward. Because at some point in time, if the administration secures funding to tear it down, I think that's gonna be their only option, because no one's coming forward. Okay? Anything else? Anyone else wishing to address council? Okay? Next Wednesday, 17th, 6 p.m., finance. Need a motion to adjourn.
Big motion.
Second.
Bonnie seconds that. Clerk?
Yes. Mr. Ballack? Mr. Bayes?
Yes.
Mr. Beagley? Mr. Burnside?
Yes.
Mr. Carselli? Mrs. Gomes?
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for coming and participating. Huh? Well, I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm not electrical. I'm not that. Oh, I think you do.